Peace and welcome to the show, folks. We got a great one for you. For the first hour, let's talk about the fact that a number of black voters are deciding to leave President Biden in droves. We'll break down to you the numbers and the data behind that. Also, it's Valentine's Day, so we're going to break it down with relationship expert and author LaDon Black to give us some insight about what you should expect today and moving forward. Also, Super Bowl Sunday has officially happened. The NFL season is over, but what about black coaches? What about women harassment? What about all of the other issues that are plaguing the NFL right now? We'll break that down. Along with, let's talk about that memorable halftime show. Is hip-hop back? Are you a hip-hop artist or hip-hop lover for life at this point? We'll talk about it. So stay with us. A lot to get to. It's The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. Man, oh man, welcome to the show, folks. We got a lot to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl and all of the stuff that surrounded the big game yesterday. We'll have that in the second hour. But this first hour, I wanted to talk a little bit about politics. Now, I got to keep you up to date on some of the things that are happening both in Washington and in the culture of the political system of our country. And today, I wanted to first kick off the discussion around where black folks stand in our relationship with President Biden. This is a very, very touchy, sensitive situation. If we actually looked at the fact that the president, that black people and the president, like would be our status on like a Facebook page, would probably be like complicated. But the president right now is actually losing support, folks. He's actually losing support. And guess what? From who? Us. Yep. And according to a recent poll from CNN, folks, I'm going to break down these numbers. Let me just show you where we are on this whole situation. According to this recent poll, it has the president have a 58% disapproval rate and 41% approval rate. Now, in December, President Biden was at 49% approval in the same poll. And among those who disapprove of his performance, 56% say that the president didn't accomplish anything in his first year of which they approved. Now, when we also look at this scenario, President Trump, based upon where he was, his poll numbers were similar. It was still at a dismal pace. However, but his poll numbers were similar because, one, he was dealing with the Russian investigation from the special counsel's office. So that's one part of it. And then Trump's base, who strongly supported him, found that they were, the folks that do this data said that they were infinitely stronger and more reliable than Biden's current base. So he has a solid base of folks. And President Biden and the Democrats are kind of like the base of people who support him is like a little shaky. Now, I want to share with you a little bit about this too. Let's put those poll numbers back up there real quick. I want folks to really see this. Less than 7 in 10 black voters don't support Biden. That means 69%, 69%, I'm sorry, support the president. This is significant because more than 9 in 10 voters, 92%, voted for him in 2020. So you have 69% that are supportive, but back in 2020, 92% were supportive of the president. That means that was a 25-point drop in a very, very short period of time. 25 points. I want us to take a look at this and have just a brief conversation around this. I want to bring in Culture Crew member B Fly, And B Fly is the co-founder of Black Water Production House, and she's also a Black woman film artist, a film producer. B, thank you so much for joining us. How are you this evening?
I'm wonderful, Farajii. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. B, let's talk about this. President Biden, he's slipping, he's falling, and he can't get up
He
at this
can't get
point.
up.
B, Black folks
Out
are
of
leaving the president and Kamala Harris. What's your take on this?
I voted for Kanye, so I'm the one out of 10 Black people who were never riding with Biden to begin with. So I'm not necessarily surprised. This is what it is. There are a lot of reasons though why we don't connect to a Biden administration, and so and all of those reasons are just bubbling up to the surface. Does that mean that we're supposed to run back to a Trump administration? Of course not, Faraji. But when given two extreme negative situations, this is where we are. So I voted for Kanye, proudly for the culture. And I still feel like my presidential choice would have done a much better job than the majorities.
You wait a minute, hold on. You saying that your presidential choice of Kanye West would have done a better job than President Biden right now?
Yes, I would say that very clearly. But I'm not a white man supporter. I'm not an old white man supporter. I'm not a Biden supporter. I've always been a Biden. I've laughed at Biden my entire life. Biden has always been the one that he was never really polished for one. So in a pickle verbally, and at the end of the day, he straddles the fence. He serves several masters, and our culture has never been top of his priorities. Has there been a president who has really had Black culture at the helm of their priorities? No. Will we? Most likely not. So I stand with my vote.
You stand with your vote. You stand
I
with your vote.
stand
And
with
you
my
know what?
vote.
It's all good. I mean, it's just simply because the fact that a lot of people, I mean, whether we want to admit it or not, we're just not happy. We've been talking on this show, and I've been talking, of course, with my big brother Roland Martin. When we talk about some of the, I mean, certainly there are some good things that this administration is doing, but there are still some big gaping holes in terms of progress and achievement that this administration seems to be missing the mark on, whether it's from policing, police brutality, or dealing with the voting rights issues. I mean, I think those two things alone are just huge pieces of legislation that kind of fell down. Now, is that all on the president? No. Does he need congressional support? Yes. Does he use his bully pulpit enough to gain that support? Does he kind of moves in with a maverick style of governance and leadership? No.
No.
So I'm looking at this situation and saying, first year is down. We got to see what these next three bring in. But I'm concerned, to say the least. I'm concerned,
so
especially. Yeah, go ahead, B.
so here we go. I mean, so we have two different leadership styles. We have a super aggressive leadership style of Donald Trump. Whether he's right or wrong, he's going to defend his position tooth and nail. But then we have Biden, who is a kind of who's a little bit more moderate, who's more passive, when it comes to his leadership. And I really still can't say anything about the VP. So what at this point, like I'm still trying to navigate a red line
Right.
in my city. So
Right.
when it comes to the paper shuffling of the president, I'm most likely not on his radar. Me and my business are not on his radar. We're still trying to navigate a red line of Baltimore City that I don't even think my mayor can untangle, and I support him fully. But when it comes to Black people in this country, we are still literally living next door and asking for permission from like the ones who held us captive. And that right there is still problematic. Like we're still asking our master for freedom, wondering
Mm.
why he hasn't granted that inalienable right. And so
Well, you know,
that's where we are.
here's where we are as well, B, because you're not the only one. Let me just share these numbers as well. CNN just did a poll, and they came out with this report that showed that based upon the survey that they conducted back in January and February, they found that 45% of Democratic and Democratic-leaning voters wanted to see the party renominate Biden in 2024. 51% preferred a different candidate. So you got a
Clearly.
little bit more than half of those who are who affiliate or who call themselves Democrats say, you know what, in 2024, I want somebody different. Um,
The
but when
people
you,
have been
yeah,
asking for that for a very long time.
yeah,
But I don't, but the people, I have not found that person, that leader has not risen up. And so I am a part of the Black voice that is no longer looking for a leader. I'm looking to my family for our own leadership. So um good luck. Good luck with 2024. I'll be casting a vote. Not sure who that'll be for. I'm not going to
yeah,
sit on the sidelines and just
right.
not participate. Um, but I'm still waiting for Kanye.
You still waiting for Kanye?
I'm
What?
still waiting for Kanye. I'm not finished. I'm not.
Kanye,
I'm not done
Kanye
with
ain't running. Kanye
it.
ain't running.
Can I not hope?
No, not for Kanye. You can hope
No,
for a lot of things, B,
no.
but not for.
Listen, but if I was able to hope for hope between Biden and Trump,
Right.
why can I not hope for Kanye? Clearly, the majority of Democrats are ready for new blood. We are ready. So let's go. Let's go. Let's sprinkle in some hip hop. Let's sprinkle in some performance art. Let's sprinkle in a little bit of off the cuff. You have no idea what you're going to get. But is that not what we need from leadership? I am tired of the antiquated thinking on how to fix these New Testament problems.
Mm, antiquated thinking on New Testament problems. So right now, B, we are at a very serious crossroads in this country, both artistically, culturally, socially, but certainly politically. We're at a crossroads, right, where a lot of people are saying that, and this might just be the precursor to something major and big happening, where America starts to move forward in establishing either a third party, a third major political party, where we might start to see even factions of folks breaking away from both the Democrat and Republican Party and starting something even separate along that line. Um, do you feel like that is the direction that we should go at this point?
Yes, I am anxious for that. I look forward to that. Um, Out of anybody's struggle, we will birth a new option for a promise, and it would make sense for us to look to the hip hop generation, to
Mm,
hip hop leaders. It would make sense for our next political greats to come from the greatness of our generation. And that stems from hip hop. That is who we are. That's what we have offered up to the planet. That's how we are consumed. And it's that mindset that will revolutionize the world. So
hmm
yes, we need to be inserted within government. We need to infiltrate those systems if we plan on actually fighting the powers that be. The tables have to not only change, but the tables have to get crushed in order to be rebuilt again. Because let's just keep it honest, like this our land was never created on an equal ground.
Yeah.
So there's certain fallacies that we need to really put to rest and really create a new system, an actual playing field to where both I and my husband and my child can actually look forward to the future and project our thoughts. But at this point, it's difficult for the majority of Americans to look ahead 20 years confidently.
Mm, mm. And I think B, that is the big concern. I think that's the big conversation that's facing on everyone. I think that this is a moment of a moment of what they call it, a moment of clarity, a moment where we need to be honest and authentic to ourselves and to our interests. And I know that a lot of people are trying to figure out like what the next step is. Because here's the thing: I don't want to encourage people to disengage from being disengaged from politics. I think we need to stay up to date on certain things, right? But I want people to start to vote their interest, and that's where the conversation gets real muddy, because if you don't even know what you're fighting for, I mean, just to say, okay, great schools, no crime, I mean, this is 2022. There's a lot more that has to happen, and still before you get to that magical place of no crime and great schools and all of these cities and all of this stuff. There has to be some stuff done locally. There has to be some engagement. There has to be some involvement from the citizens in order to create the government that we want to see. What's your take on that?
It's true, but the citizens have to be able to be invited to these meetings. Most of the time when we're talking about when we're talking about local matters that actually affect the way we drive down the street, those meetings are not held after most adults get home from work. Those meetings are literally held in the mornings and in the early afternoons when most working class people are literally at work. So your bike lanes are being decided in an hour that you are working to pay taxes, but they're being decided by people who are in a much more privileged lifestyle than us. And this is where it's difficult to connect to a president when we have local stagnation. And so
Mm,
without being able to actually bring your true concerns to city council, without actually being able to cross that bureaucratic line to where that your just opinion and your just solution can be heard, like
yeah,
without being able to get in with so many gatekeepers blocking right knowledge from actually infiltrating the system, it's difficult. Like, so we have to address the fact that corruption and politics go hand in hand. This is not a clean electorate
right.
in
No,
any way, shape, form, like from the Rudy to the Tootie. So it's like, so expecting the average citizen to play the game properly when they have never been able to even get a clear rule sheet.
yeah.
We're talking to the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're literally victim blaming. It is not our fault for our oppression.
No, and that's a big point. I'm gonna just share with folks. So many people have been checking in B that as we've been having this conversation, checking in our YouTube page, Facebook page, just to join in us in the conversation.
What?
John Tay Lee said Bernie was the best candidate, but we wanted more of the same. If it's not a progressive, then why vote? John Tay, that's a good point. Rebecca checked in and said, fact is, if we can't elect a less than evil, we are screwed. Not to say that it's better, but it prevents the country from literally going into the swamp with racists running and controlling this country. That's the dilemma of the choice between two evils. Nicole Spicer said, we are going to have more Black people running for political office and winning in our local and state governments to see things change. And then Devin checking in, and I'm a huge McCall. I am a huge advocate that all politics are local. Change starts on the local level and the community level. So I'm with you on that one. Devin, I think it's Devin Cox said, I don't think Biden is the problem. The GOP is treating him as a Black person to some degree. Look how they did Obama. They are not scared to persecute outsiders of their rim.
That's
I
what the
don't think.
GOP has always done.
Yeah.
Is that tell me? I am 44. I've never seen the GOP operate any different.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen the GOP operate different either. I mean, but I have seen, let me just tell you, I mean, over these past 5 years, the GOP has put themselves in a very, very crazy ass space, right? I mean, under Trump, because it's like, bro, what does, it almost just feeds this conspiracy that Trump is like a mob boss because everybody just falls down and bows down to him versus, I mean, how do you break down a whole party? A whole party of people and finally and to acquiesce to your own will and demands, it's crazy. And then if you speak out on some, I mean, if you speak out on some crazy stuff that this dude is doing, I'm speaking of former President Trump, what he's doing and has done, you get blasted, you get ostracized. I mean, it's like a episode of Black Mirror and Twilight Zone all mixed together. It's like, what alternate reality are we living in right now, B?
I mean, he started a riot. He's the riot starter. And so it's and the white people voted for him. And this lets you know, like it feels like Garvey.
Right.
Reversed.
Right.
Feels so it's like, so when we really look at the principle here, I think both sides of the aisle are craving separation. I think both sides, and we can't say it. It's like no one wants to say it.
No, you know what, a lot of people.
That's what this is.
Political scientists, social scientists are having this big conversation of, we're at a point that the political conversation is so contentious that we're literally at a point where folks are saying, can the United States succeed? Now, if succession is on the table, right, you know what I mean? Like, then that's a whole other conversation. And that's what we actually started off this show when we first kicked off the show on February 1st. That was the big question, that is America heading for a civil war? We are at a point that if something is not dramatically, radically done to this political system, we're going to start seeing some very, very interesting offshoots, especially as we get closer to 2024 in this next presidential election. Over these next 2 years, I truly believe are going to be game-changing years for the politics of this country.
Yes.
What's your final word on that, Dave?
And out of which we're going to end up creating new political parties. At the end of the day, this is really this is the Tea Party, our insurrection last year. That was the final blow of the Tea Party, and so it's like, and that's and they want to be separate from me. And that is okay.
Right.
They are separate from me. I am separate from them. They are not my tribe. They are not my people. Do we actually need to pretend like we have similar political goals? I think that's why we keep on having this problem. The idea of a melting pot can't happen because the mixes aren't congealing the way they need to congeal. It's the sauce is broken. The sauce is broken, and so once your sauce is broken, you gotta throw it away. You gotta separate them eggs from the milk and them cheeses.
There it is. B-Fly, look, we're going to take a quick pause. When we come back, we're going to have more conversation with you. We're going to switch gears because it also is Love Day, Valentine's Day. We have to talk about it, B, because I know you like to talk about love and relationships and all of those things. So we're going to check in with author and relationship expert LaDawn Black to give us some insight about what we can do to celebrate this day in the right way. And so that way you can still be in love tomorrow. So stay with us. The culture right here on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, today it is Valentine's Day, and here on The Culture, we wanted to make sure we have a conversation around what it means to be in love and relationships. So I had to tap in one of our a sister that I have great love and admiration for. She is an author, she is a media personality, and she is a relationship expert. We want to welcome now LaDawn Black to the airwaves of the Black Star Network here on The Culture. LaDawn, thank you so much for joining us. How are you? We got LaDawn. Oh, wait a minute. We got to get LaDawn. Maybe we can't hear you. Let's make sure we get you. There we go.
There we go. I'm sorry. I muted myself because I have children running in and out.
LaDawn, how are you this afternoon?
I'm glad to be here. I am wonderful. Thanks again for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So LaDawn, you know, this is Valentine's Day. This is a very important day. I know this is a day that you are super busy, so we're certainly glad to have you for a few minutes. But when we look at this issue or this holiday of Valentine's Day, a lot of times people tend to kind of put it in this commercialized space, right? But I was reading a very interesting New York Times op-ed. One of them is saying that, you know, today you should not be focused on social media. Today is about making sure that you take time to do what the things you need to do to show love to yourself or to show love to another person. And that by displaying certain things on social media, you're actually making their experience can be very, very unhealthy and could be a sad experience because everybody is searching for love. What's your take on that, LaDawn?
You know what? You should stay off social media because today you're going to see engagements. You're going to see people with fantastic gifts. You're going to see people in fantastic places, vacationing and eating dinner. And it's something that can depress you. I mean, even if you have a quality person who has really helped you out or is really supporting you today and celebrating with you today, it's easy to fall into that trap of, I didn't get that trip. I didn't get the ring. He didn't spend as much on me.
Right. And I see that a lot. And there is, I don't know what this phenomenon or this dynamic is called, LaDawn, but when people see another group, another couple do, and they go through that depression, and then it's like, you must not love me like he loves her.
Right. I mean, even to have someone post you, a lot of people get really upset that you don't even post that we're together. And you have to realize, okay, do you guys post each other ever? If you don't, then today's not anything abnormal. But those little things can trip you up.
So when it comes to those type of, I would call them what, social media etiquettes, and especially when it comes around relationships, it seems like they would warrant a conversation. Like you would have to sit down with your partner and say, look, I generally express Valentine's or show my love by doing A, B, and C. How do you do it? Do we have to get that concise at this point?
We do. We absolutely do. Because the truth is, some people really, it isn't a big deal for them. And, you almost embarrass them by making it a huge deal. And then other people are like, look, if you're not doing something, then clearly we could be together for 20 years. You're not in love with me because you didn't do anything this day. So you have to have that conversation about what we're going to do, what level we're going to do it at, and whether or not we're going to post any of these things, because that's big too. Because some couples, posting works well for them, and other couples are like, it's an invasion of privacy. I don't necessarily want everyone to know what I got you.
Well, here's a phenomenon. You've probably seen this, LaDon, because I know you're pretty active on social media as well. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I think this is the funniest thing. I've seen women who post the picture of their man, but then put like a big smiley face over the man's face, right? And I mean, personally, I don't understand it, because I'm like, what the hell are you posting for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it leads me to believe, like, are you not supposed to be with this person? Is this like, do you want to let people know? No, I got a man or I got a woman, but I just don't understand that person. That's just a little pet peeve. I just think that's one of the craziest things. I don't know how to really speak to that.
It makes no sense, because there's someone that I know, someone in my circle. She's probably gonna get mad because she's gonna see this, but she literally puts the happy face over him, and I'm like, girl, we all know who he is, but she's a very public person. So I realized that she doesn't want other people to know who he is. So to me, it would be just don't post him. But I think on some level, you want people to know that you're not by yourself, that you are with someone, that you are connected. But I don't get the little happy faces either. I say just don't post the person.
Just don't post the person. Right. Especially if unfortunately, we do live in a time, LaDon, and I'm not laughing at this, but people aren't honest about their current relationship or their present or their previous relationship or the status of their previous relationship. So it gets to be this very, very messy thing. I wanted to get your take on something, and I want to bring B Fly back into the conversation, one of our culture crew members. But I wanted to know, like, on a day like today, how do you know for sure how to speak to a person's quote unquote love language and not do something that may totally just throw off the whole vibe for the day? How do you get to the saying, okay, if this person enjoys going out, that you don't stay at home tonight and have a quiet dinner, and then the expectation, right? How do you do that?
You really have to know the person that you're with, and you have to understand their love language. And I know a lot of times people hear that and they go, oh, Lord, here we go again with those 5 things. But you really have to know what a person values. So buying someone a gift who really just wants to be touched on this day won't work. You have to know if someone really likes words of affirmation. Do they like acts of service? Because you could be very giving in your way, but if the person doesn't want it, it's not going to work. So you have to have a conversation about how we're going to celebrate this day. And I'm amazed, people run to the chocolate and the roses, and I'm going to run you a bubble bath, but that isn't what works for everyone.
How does intimacy play into that? Because LaDon, stop it. No, I'm just asking because, both men and women seem to believe that, oh, today I'm going to really be intimate with you. And it's like, well, what's the difference between today versus, say, last week? Like,
well,
did something change and I don't know?
when you have kids, it might mean that you have a babysitter today. So that makes things a lot different.
Okay.
But the truth is, it doesn't, that the act, the intimacy, the interaction isn't different. But I think it's just tied into the day. You know, we may have a little dinner, we may have a drink, we may be by ourselves. So everything could be heightened. So I think that's why on both sides, both partners are looking forward to the intimacy. Not that it's necessarily going to be different than it was last Saturday, but it's just going to be a little bit more special because it's today.
It's a little bit more special. And for guys, you know, because I can only speak for guys because I'm a guy. That's important. That's important. Right. And the intimacy doesn't have to be sexual. It can certainly just be, you know, just being close or having, you know, very deep level conversations with one another in such a way that you probably haven't, you know, kind of checked in with your partner in a while because of life happening.
Definitely. I mean, it could be a great conversation. It could be a massage. It could be a foot rub.
Don't say massage, LaDon. LaDon, you know, you can't do no damn massage. No.
You know, massages can be innocent. They can, but, you know, also it can just be, we have time to hold each other's hands. I can actually rub your back, and, you know, things that I can't do on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to bring B Fly back into the conversation, cultural crew member B Fly. B, thank you again for joining us. We're joined, of course, by LaDon Black. What's your question and your thoughts, B?
So, LaDon, what would your advice be for, let's say, married couples over 10, 15 years? You know, you know what I'm saying? Because we always talk about Valentine's Day from the perspective of, you know, the antsy single or the newly in love. But what do you do when you've been with your boo for a minute, and so, you know, you just happy to not be in a fight on a holiday?
I love it.
Generally speaking, of course.
I love it because when you're in a more mature relationship, you know, a relationship that's been around for a couple of years, you really have to sort of have this be like your supersized date night. So you planned for this night. What are we going to do? Not that it has to be something huge, because we've been together for a long time. You're going to be here tomorrow morning and I'm going to be here tomorrow morning. We're pretty confident in that. But we can still do something special for one another. And I think that's when you get into the cute things. You know, if he's an artist, he does a piece for you. She's a writer, she writes you something. You get to that level of intimacy where you're doing things that are not things that you can just run to the store real quick and buy, but things that actually matter. It may be cleaning the house. It may be giving her an hour or two without kids. You know, you're doing things that are truly deeply loving and deeply romantic.
Yeah. And then let me just share with you, the sisters, that what Joe said. Joe said, 1 year, I'm a very private person and don't like posting my life, but my husband likes for me to express things online. I compromise to make him happy because he goes all out. So it sounds like one of our watchers is saying, like, yes, the husband always wants to be touted. He likes that. He likes that online celebration. But I'm wondering, LaDon, for those who may not, to just add to what B has said, for those who are not with somebody, you know, by this being Valentine's Day, what do you recommend? How does a single person, a person that's by themselves, show love? Can they do it with their family and friends? Do you recommend that they do it just for themselves? Do some self-care tonight? What would you recommend?
You made some great suggestions. And those are the things that I tell single people all the time. You know, use this as a self-care day. That thing that you've been wanting to get done, that facial, getting your nails done, getting a massage, maybe working out. This is your day to do that. Also, roll your friends and family into your Valentine's Day. Your pets. You know, a lot of times we forget that there are other relationships in our lives, even your coworkers. If you really like them, there are other relationships in your life that you can show some appreciation for. And then the final suggestion that I'll give is that sometimes this is just a day for you to celebrate loving yourself. So you know, what was great that has happened to you so far? What are the things you're looking forward to in 2022? Celebrate yourself today. We can get self-love on too. And I'm just going to leave it there.
You would just leave it there. A self-love and self-care.
Self-love. It could be a lot of things.
I mean, you know, my definition of love totally starts from self
Right.
and then goes outward, and comes back like a boomerang. So yes, self-love, top of the priority, bottom of the pyramid. You understand? Yes, that's really important. I try and suggest, to my healthy self in those times when I might be looking at social media, and I might be coveting my neighbor's lifestyle. In those moments when I acknowledge, like, dang, I wish that was me. Instead of scrolling, I will intentionally love it. I'll intentionally love that expression because I do want it to be mine. So it's like, I think sometimes we have to kind of exercise this muscle of releasing that jealousy when we see someone else in a position that we would like to be in, and actually liking it on social media as a way to trigger those law of attraction positive vibrations to come back to us. So I suggest for everyone to practice those things today. Like the thing that hurts you the most because you feel like you don't have it today. Like somebody else's love.
Right.
And
I agree with that.
You're not seeing the full picture. You're not always seeing the full picture. So you're seeing that beautiful picture, you're seeing that beautiful gift, but what's behind that? And realize that people have real lives. So what they're celebrating, what they're showing, it's just an aspect of their relationship. So sometimes if you're single, just be thankful that you don't have any stress today and you're not wondering about a thing.
Yo,
you're clear.
That's funny.
That's so true. So true. Count your blessings.
Count your blessings. So LaDon, and B, I know both of you sisters know that also on a day like this, Black folks, and currently in our culture, we have taken every holiday and redefined it. Some people would say that this is Black Love Day. And I'm wondering, LaDon, what does Black love look like in 2022, given all of the challenges, the triumphs, and the tragedies that we are all experiencing? What is a goal that we can work toward for Black love in 2022?
You know what? I think Black love takes lots of different forms. I mean, it could be a man and a woman. It could be two men. It could be two women. I think it also can be, older couples, established couples, new couples. But I think what Black love means and what we're celebrating when we talk about it is the potential. A lot of times in the past, we didn't necessarily see ourselves on TV and on film. We definitely didn't see ourselves in a romantic way. Maybe we saw ourselves in a sexual way, but not in a romantic, giving, long-term love way. And so I think now we're just celebrating any story that seems like it has legs, that shows us that there's a potential for us to have satisfying love lives, have successful families, and have those things go on for many different generations, or for many generations. That's what we're celebrating.
Yeah. And I think that, I think also just the fact of, that we're able to kind of be in this place right now to celebrate the present moment. We've gone through, this is in March, it will mark the third year of being in a pandemic. We've gone through everything from economic issues to social issues. And so just being there, like just to acknowledge the present moment, I love the idea of mindfulness. And just acknowledging the moment that you're in might be, and you tell me if I'm wrong on this, LaDon. It helps to remind those who are in a relationship why they got there or how they got there in the first place. It seems to me, anyway.
Yes, it is, because we've had some really difficult years the last couple of years. And I think we are really starting to figure out what matters. A lot of us have been in the house with our kids for a number of years. They're just getting back to a regular schedule. And then you've been working from home, oftentimes with the person that you're partnered with. And so you really had to sort of pull the covers back and say, well, why am I here? And is this working? And if you find that it is working, even after all of these years, or the struggle years we've had in the last couple of years, then you go, well, wow, this is something that I value and something that I want to keep going. So there is some celebration in that too, and realizing that what you have is genuine.
All right, so if for folks that are looking to take this day, and B, don't you answer this, because I know you probably got a whole bunch of answers. But for those folks who are saying, all right, today is the day I'm going to start something new. where should they start? How should they start, LaDon? How do you go out to meet people? Do you kick it? Do you go through your social media friends list and be like, he cute, she cute? Or you said no. But where do you start? How does a person start the process if they feel like, you know what, I'm ready to be loved, I'm ready to love someone else? What would you recommend on where they start?
You know what? I'm just kidding by saying no to social media. Of course, you should use your online tools. So you use your quality online dating sites, not the free ones, the ones you pay for, the ones that have doctors behind them who have done actual, studies and questions and things like that of value. Definitely, if you connect with people via Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, things like that, and the people seem like they're sane and worthy of your time, there could be some connections there. But the biggest thing I tell people all the time, and the one thing that they don't do, is tell your circle that you're looking for someone. A lot of times you're in your house and you're like, I really want to meet someone, but your girlfriends don't know. Your guy friends don't know. Your family doesn't know. Not that they can always hook you up with someone quality, but sometimes if they know, you'll have people in your circle who are working for you as well, and you never know what can happen there. It's all about being open and being open on a daily basis. It's like literally you could be putting gas in your car, and if you're open to just saying hi to someone who says hi to you, that could be a quality connection. You just have to be open. And I ask women this especially, how many people did you actually say hi to today or say thank you to that spoke to you or did something nice? And they're like, A lot of times that goes a long way as far as meeting someone new. It's just being open to meeting someone new.
You have to be open to meeting someone new. B, what's your take on that as we wrap up this part of the conversation?
Listen, I got a lot of homegirls with the stank face. So, please smile, bat the lashes, be available. If you want love, then be open to receiving love. Right. Say hi, say thank you. And we don't have to always have our fight face on at the ready. You know what I'm saying? And I know that it is challenging on the streets because that you speak to someone and with a simple hi, and then that conversation could go places where you did not really expect it to,
right.
And but when you are single, when you are open, when you do want more people into your life, you need to be able to have eye contact and live in your analog world. Live in that analog world. It's okay to still get eye contact with people and to show a little leg metaphorically in the grocery store, And so, but I'm an old school girl, but these are all in how I bag them in, and so if that's what the goal is on Valentine's Day.
Right. But you got to make yourself open. You got to put yourself out there a little bit. Is that what that's what I'm hearing, LaDon? You got to put yourself out there a little bit. And look, I have to bring this up because we got like 30 seconds, but I have to bring this up, LaDon. You broke down something to me a couple of years ago that I still remember today, which is that when it comes to dating, it's a numbers game, and women don't play the numbers like men do. Break that down for us, LaDon.
So true. I love to tell people this because we don't really think about it. A man will date a lot of women until he finds the one that he actually wants to marry. Men get it. They're like, look, I'm going to have 20 of y'all in play and let the best one win. Women, when we're available and we meet one great one, we're like, woo, and we're focused on him. And I think if we sort of approached it like men, and saw it as a numbers game, I could have 20, well, not 20, that sounds like a huge number, but I could have several guys in play. It doesn't mean I'm sleeping with all of them. I may only be sleeping with the one I'm really interested in. But what I'm doing is saying, look, let the best guy win. Because see, what you'll find is you'll be destroyed if that one guy, may disappoint you. It doesn't work out. But if you got 5 others in play, you're like, well, you know what? He fell off. Let's see what number 4 has going on. They play the numbers game. We need to play it as well.
I love it. And I think it's the whole thing, like on to the next one. I love it. Look, I know B, I know you love that.
Listen, I'm a LaDon fan, okay?
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
Yes. So,
like, I know you like that. The
says,
numbers game. It's a numbers game, B. It's a number game. But I think you're right, LaDon. You're absolutely right. We as men, we play the numbers game much more than women do. Mm-hmm. And then the women, when a woman says, oh, okay, so I'm serious about you, you serious about me, and then we get jammed up as men to be like, well, you know, I mean, I am serious, but I got like 2 or 3 others. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm just not as serious about them as I am about you. And I think women have to understand that there may be other women floating around, but if you have value, he's going to make you feel, and he's going to do the things that prove that you're the number one.
Wow, there it is.
Yeah, and there's a difference between dating and courting. There's a fundamental difference, you know. And so when you're dating, you should be dating. You should be open. You should be getting drinks. You should be talking. You should be mixing. You should be mingling. You know, and so yeah, there is. I think women are still trying to understand their lines of morality and sexual freedom and all of these things, you know. And so so good luck. Love is revolutionary. Love is a risk. It's the thing that everything is worth. You know, you can have all of the houses and all of the money, and if you are and you can still be lacking in your heart if you want to share that with someone. And so that's the part, you know, that's important. I'm trying to untangle my own preconditions with my son. He thinks Valentine's Day is just about girls, and he doesn't understand that. And so it's like, and so I find myself trying to just unlearn some of the things that I've been taught along this period of time, you know. And so it's real.
That is very
how
real.
Do you want to be loved on, Farajii?
How I want to be loved on? You just feed me. I'm a Taurus. We love sauces. We love food. I'm just saying.
Very simple.
Hey. I love touch. I love when you tell me I'm the greatest. You know what I'm saying? I don't ask for much. Just pump up my head and feed me. I don't ask for much. LaDon, I gotta let you go. I know you're busy, and I appreciate your time that you spent with us here on The Culture on Black Star Network. We certainly got to bring you back, LaDon, because I got a lot more questions. We got a lot more issues in our relationship. So today is Valentine's Day, but we will certainly get into some much more hardcore discussions around relationships and love. So I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Take care. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's switch gears and talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to be checking in with Coach Butch McAdams. Also, we got sports analyst Jay Ball. And, of course, Culture crew member B Fly. Stay with us. It's The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hey, Farajii, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right, folks, welcome back to the show. The first hour, we had a great conversation from everything about the fact that blacks are leaving the support of President Biden to Valentine's Day with LeBron Black. Man, oh man, I enjoyed that conversation. All right, but now let's switch gears. Let's talk about what just happened yesterday with Super Bowl Sunday, because there have been a number of conversations about the NFL, even though yesterday's blowout, spectacular demonstration of the big game was still something that it's just a magical moment. Super Bowl is always a big moment. And so, I wanted us to have a conversation about the NFL, the Super Bowl, but most importantly, let's look at the fact that you still have some very, very deep-seated issues that exist within the National Football League. Whether you're talking about the lawsuit that has rocked the league with Brian Flores, or you're talking about the level of sexual harassment and abuse of women employees, the NFL is still having problems. Now, if y'all remember, and I could be really, really wrong on this, folks, but it seemed like once Kaepernick took that knee, everything fell down. You know what I mean? It seemed like it was just this domino effect of just issues that had plagued, that you started to see, that broke that facade that the NFL was this kind of, we knew it wasn't perfect, but we didn't know how imperfect it really is. And so here to give us some insight about this, we invited coach and host of In and Out of Sports, Coach Butch McAdams, to join us in this conversation. Also, I got sports analyst J-Bo on the line. And of course, we are joined by Culture Crew member B Fly. So let's join us. Let's have this conversation right now. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. How are you this afternoon?
Honored and humbled by the invitation.
Absolutely, absolutely. Coach, when we look at, I want to start this part of the conversation. Big, huge moment in LA and Hollywood. We saw SoFi Stadium packed to the rafters. 100,000 plus people came out. You saw pretty much the who's who of sports and entertainment and all of that stuff, politics, everybody seemed to be there, quote unquote. But even with the glitz and the glamour and the lights and the fireworks, do you feel like it outshined the fact that the NFL is still reeling from everything from this Brian Flores lawsuit to the recent discovery of how women have been harassed and abused by the league officials? Does the moment of the Super Bowl outshine those issues in your regard?
I think the moment of the Super Bowl outshined them for that moment. But now that the Super Bowl is over, then we go back to the reality and the issues that you stated. The NFL is a marketing genius, okay? And so you're going to have some issues that's going to tarnish their image, but in the long run, folks are going to watch. As you stated, you had 100,000 or more fans in the stadium, and I'm anxious to see what the television numbers were. Now, the Super Bowl traditionally is the number one television event that we have. I don't know. On one hand, the playoffs this year has been the absolute best. Now, you didn't have a sexy team. You didn't have the Packers. You didn't have Kansas City in there, but you had the two teams that were playing the best at the time. You had a tremendous halftime show from some people's perspective. So I would think that the numbers are good. So people watch the game for about 3 hours or so, but now it's back to reality. And I want to see how the powers that be deal with this. And I'll say a lot more about that later.
And that's part of the conversation, Coach. Is like, like you said, I mean, marketing wise, the NFL has shown that they are quote unquote open. They have shown that they are ready to take on these challenges head first. That's what we get in the presser. That's what the press release says. But then when you go beyond those statements, they're fumbling and bumbling. Just a couple of days ago, Coach, right here on this show, we made mention that Roger Goodell, the commissioner for the league, said that he will review the policies when it comes down to black coaches. And he said that, he is partly responsible for not creating a culture to bring black coaches and black leadership up in the league. My pushback on that, Coach, is that how are you not responsible, or you're partly responsible, or, you got to look at these policies when you've been in this role as commissioner for 16 years. You've been in this role, like you are the part of you're not the solution. You're the problem. When you've been in a role for 16 years, you have not created a space for black coaches, for black leadership. Year one, that should have happened year one.
Well,
go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
No. But see, my perspective is that it's not about creating a culture. The culture is there. It's not like 20, 30 years ago where most of your head coaches were coordinators. The culture is there. You have so many qualified African-American coordinators on playoff caliber teams. So it's there. The bottom line is this, and you can't get away from it. The owners are going to hire who they want to hire. Right. And no one can really force them to hire someone. But what can happen is someone like of Coach Flores is bringing this to light. And now this will tarnish the NFL's image to a certain extent. And then Congress can look at it, and they can maybe make some improvements. But the bottom line is this: you can't force somebody to hire someone they don't want to. But what I think now is going to happen, I think that Congress is going to look at them, and if there's any monies that they're getting publicly, that could be challenged. I think also now that before a team hires a white candidate over a black candidate, they're going to make sure that that white candidate is super and doubly qualified than the black candidate.
No doubt.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't know what you can do. I don't know what you can do because you don't have any black owners. You have one minority owner. And so people will hire folks that look like them or they're comfortable with for the most part. But how do you explain Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator, Kansas City, can't get a head coaching job? You've got Brian Leftwich, offensive coordinator, Tampa Bay. He's on the outside looking in. You've got Todd Bowles. Yesterday you had Raheem Morris. So there are at least 5 or 6 very overly qualified black candidates that should be head coaches.
Right. And you're saying that again, it comes down to something very simple: forcing these owners to hire these men, these black, capable, qualified coordinators. That could be like trying to steer the Titanic with a plastic fork. It just seems like, come hell or high water, they're going to stay committed to whatever decision they think is the best decision, and not thinking about the league.
But the government to a certain extent, and I heard President Biden say something about it today or yesterday, that something is wrong when 70% of your workforce on the field are African American. And as I speak, you're going into the season next year with just 3 black head coaches, just 3.
Wow. I want to bring in the sports analyst J-Bo and of course culture crew member B Fly. J-Bo, thank you so much for joining us here on the Culture on the Black Star Network. How are you, brother?
Good, man. I'm glad to be here.
J-Bo, when you look at this situation with Coach, what Coach is saying about, not forcing people, not forcing owners to make these decisions. I mean, it seems like you're still kind of in a waiting space. You're still waiting for somebody to give you an opportunity. That these owners have so much power that even the league itself has to acquiesce, has to submit to whatever demands that they have. What's your take on that?
Well, what Coach says is pretty much right. You can't really control the owners to hire, a person of color. They're going to hire who they want to hire.
Yeah.
But you got to look at it like, when they put in place affirmative action. So you got 32 teams out there. You know what I'm saying? At least 5 of them or something like that should be have a black coach.
Right.
Especially when there's so many qualified coaches out there. And so when you look at it, when they put in place the rule that you have to interview candidates of color, they haven't placed the rule that you have to have these folks on these teams with different roles.
Mm-hmm.
So until we solve that issue, we're not going to be able to solve the problem. It looks real bad when you hire somebody that has really little to no qualifications over somebody that has years of experience. And then that person is, a white person, and the other person is a person of color.
Right. And right now, I mean, where the league is suffering as a result of this. I'm wondering, J-Bo, with Brian Flores and all of these other things coming out, do you really feel like that it's going to compel the league to make some changes? As I mentioned, Roger Goodell said, look, he's going to review the policies, but he did not get into the specifics of what will change, how things will move forward. He didn't say that. He just said, we'll review the policy and see what options are on the table. So I'm wondering, what's the likelihood we're going to start seeing some real drastic change coming from these situations?
I don't know if we're going to see real drastic change, but it is a step in the right direction. Now everybody has to take a look at this and seriously review it because it is a major issue.
Absolutely. B-Fly, I want to bring you into this discussion as well, because what we saw yesterday was something very different. I mean, we saw a league that is still bringing in money that is crazy money, and then at the same time using every tool in the toolbox to try to create a facade that this was a league that is changing, that this is a league that hears people, that this is a league that is progressive. But yet we're still seeing one of the big things, one of the big issues that women employees, for example, women employees are leaving these leagues, leaving these teams because of levels of sexual harassment, abuse, and just all out disrespect. I mean, how did we reconcile that? I know I tuned into the Super Bowl, but there was a part of me, B, that was like, damn, should I be watching? Or should we take it beyond the boycott? I mean, what do we do?
I mean, we've been straddling the fence for hundreds of years, Farajii. It's a powder keg situation that you can't help but ask yourselves these questions, and we're tipping into a zone of morality, actually. And so there's only so much you can entertain the masses. And so it's like, but once again, we're in an American capitalistic system, right? And our Black bodies have been valued for entertainment and for the slave driving of that system ever since the Americas were formed. So it's like, so this system right here, which is riddled in sexism, riddled in patriarchy, born in racism, like what are you going to do? I am not a sports fanatic, so I am not necessarily invested into the game of football emotionally or financially, but I recognize that there's emotions entangled within this sport. There's generations of financial wealth entangled into this sport, you know. So what do you do? Like, this is the intersection of racism, sexism, patriarchy, like in within your sport, and the ceiling is very low. You are allowed to run with this ball. We are allowed to dance on this stage, but we are not allowed to be in upper management. We're not allowed ownership. And so unless there are more Kaepernicks willing to take that financial L, this is just a conversation. Like, we'll never really execute change. Change literally means walking your Black body off of that field, off of crip walking off of that stage in all of the glory, you know. But unless we're ready to do that collectively, what do we do? Oops, I think I just lost somebody.
Well, let me just say this, and Coach, I want to get your take on this, because we got people that are checking in on our YouTube page and Facebook, and they're asking this question about ownership, right? For example, it was said that the Williams sisters are investors of the Miami Dolphins. Don't they have a say in who gets hired? We've heard that Byron Allen is looking to buy the Denver Broncos for between $3 to $4 billion. With that, does that give us some relief, saying that the cavalry is coming, that change is on the horizon, because you have Black people that are involved in some level of ownership for these teams? Is that the answer that we need and looking for right now?
Not unless you have the majority owner. You know, you can have a piece in the team and you can be a partner, but make no mistake about it, the majority owner has the final say. And I doubt if the majority owners consult with their partners on who they want to hire. It's the head owner and the general manager, or the president, head owner, and the general manager. Now, Byron Allen, on one hand, I'm excited, I'm optimistic, but on the other hand, I'm not. And what I mean by that is, Byron Allen is a name. I read where he and Roger Goodell had some conversations about him putting a bid. Right. Okay, so that's a good thing.
Right.
But according to reports, Byron Allen is going to need a lot of help, because according to his reported wealth, he ain't got enough money, nowhere near. So his reported wealth is $500 million, $500 million. So that means he's going to have to line up some big money investors as partners. And then if he could put together a good team, then yeah, he's got a chance to do it. The person who I wanted to put a bid in, and ironically he's not, is Robert Smith. Robert Smith is from the Denver area, and Robert Smith reportedly is worth about $6.7 billion. So he doesn't need any partners. He can write the check himself. But that is, I think that's where it starts in terms of having Black ownership. Now, in terms of boycotting, I think that's an individual team and an individual person's choice. I'm not paying, because you have some franchises that get it right. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steelers get it right. They've gotten it right. The Ravens, your favorite team, they get it right. All right. Now, the Ravens have not had a Black head coach, but in their short history, they've only had 3 head coaches, and 2 of them, as I recall, have gone to Super Bowls. But
Right.
the Ravens have had a general manager,
Yeah.
a defensive coordinator, and they just hired a president. So why, if I'm a fan, why do I have a beef with the Ravens? They're getting it right. Now, my team, or formerly my team, the Washington football team, now the Commanders, I have my personal protest. Now, I have to watch the games because of what I do.
Right.
However, I don't have to go and give them money, and guess what? I haven't given them a dime in decades. And as long as Daniel Snyder is the owner, and hopefully that won't be too much longer, but as long as he's the owner, he won't get a dime out of Coach Butch McAdams. That's my protest on him and how poorly he's ran this organization. And now there are rumors of a toxic environment. And I'm hearing that Congress has an oversight committee. They're looking into it. And also it's being reported, I don't know how true it is, but it's being reported that some of the owners are now getting fed up with Daniel Snyder, and they may force him to sell a team. If that happens, then think of this, y'all. You got a franchise available in the nation's capital. This would be the NFL's big chance to bring in a black owner and say, hey, we got a black owner in the nation's capital.
Yep. And you know what, Coach? It's going to be interesting to see how the offseason will play out in terms of how things will move forward. You know what I mean? Like everything of how this whole conversation, because come September of this year, you know, we're going to be back in it. Folks are going to be back in it. You know, there was an estimated, and I know we got to take a quick pause, but there were an estimated 31.5 million people who betted on yesterday's game. That's the highest number on record of people who betted for the Super Bowl. 31.5 million people. And I know people are just saying, well, all these things are happening. It's going to make a dent. Part of me is like, even with Kaepernick, yes, we know Kaepernick made a dent culturally, but I'm talking about and the NFL did take a little hit culturally, take a hit financially as well, but they are revving themselves. I mean, they're getting back into the swing of things, Coach, to the point where they're like saying, hey, we're still here. We're still bringing people out. We're still making the games exciting. We're still highlighting your favorite players. We're still signing big money contracts. We're integrating hip hop, into everything that we're doing. We got Jay-Z in the conversation, even though they were reluctant at first to work with the NFL. The NFL is still the number one marketing machine for professional sports.
By far. And the NFL is a seasonal entity. No, you talk about September. No, long before them, you're going to have free agents.
Oh, that's right. True.
Signing. That's going to be a big deal. You're going to have the draft. That's going to be a big deal. So the NFL is a year-round endeavor. You're going to have these special training camps. Okay. And so they will not stop marketing, but I'm curious to find out where this lawsuit is going. And let's not forget, and I know we have to take a pause, but we're focusing on the racial disparity in terms of Flory's suit. But what about the situation with the owner in Miami, that it is being alleged that he gave the coach a directive and offered a bonus, an incentive to lose ball games.
Right. Tanking. The tanking.
If that is, yes, tanking is what they call it. Now, teams tank, but there's a way to do it. If they prove that if Flores has proof and he can provide it, then that owner may be forced out.
Absolutely. 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 Folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, more conversation about the big game. Now, when we're talking about all of the issues of the big game, that's one thing, but everybody was tuned in. 29 million people, according to one metric said that Forbes put out, said 29 million people tuned into the halftime show. Let's talk about the integration of hip hop and professional sports. And does this move the culture forward? We're going to still keep our sports analyst J-Bo on the line, and of course B-Fly. So stay with us. It's the culture right here on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Hey, Black, I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Welcome back to the show, folks. We've been talking about the Super Bowl, talking about the NFL, and we've been having this conversation with Coach Butch McAdams, who is a coach, formerly a coach, and now he's the host of In and Out of Sports on the radio. Also, we've been joined by sports analyst J-Bo and B-Fly, who is the co-owner of Blackwater Production House, and she is a Black woman producer, filmmaker. So we are so happy to have all of our wonderful guests. Let's talk a little bit about, now that we talked about the politics behind it, B, I'm starting with you on this one because Los Angeles is your hometown. That's where you originated from. Okay, you got to throw up the L into the A. You know what I'm saying?
We got that. We got that.
But check it though. Like, look, check this out. There have been so many conversations about the magnitude, how big of a situation this has been for the city of Los Angeles. SoFi Stadium, a $5 billion stadium, folks. 3/4 they say is underground, which is still crazy on how they even built this. In Inglewood.
Always up to no good.
Yeah. And Inglewood, there's an article that my producer sent to me. She was like, that was asking the question, the Super Bowl is good for Los Angeles, but is SoFi good for Inglewood, California? And so I was like, that is an interesting take on it. But what were your thoughts? You saw what we saw in the halftime show last night, V, was if you're from LA and you Black, this one is for you.
Listen. We have to give it up to Snoop for really purchasing Death Row Records. All right.
Right. Okay.
So,
facts.
All right.
Facts.
So we have to anchor this in the pureness of what this really means. You know. So it's like, so we have the LA win, and then we have the stadium, and then we have LA on stage, and then we have, we have Snoop rising to the helm and taking over like this next throne of hip hop and business and infrastructure of this city. All right. So it's major. It's a turning of a tide of sorts. I wish I was in LA right now. Like I'm feeling. I definitely like send all of the love and shots in the air to my home. And so this is what we do. This is what we do. This is what we do as a generation, as a people. We take over, and when it comes to being able to entertain and dominate this stage, like this is what we do. So it's like my intersection is on fire right now. I'm Black, I'm woman, I'm from Cali, so you can't really tell me nothing right now. Ego.
But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. What we saw with the halftime show, and then J Ball will get your take, and then Coach as well. But what we saw with the halftime show, with hip hop being on full display, even though people, obviously it appealed to an older hip hop audience because, I can appreciate the music. I mean, you drop 50 Cent in there, like, I can appreciate the music because that's what we grew up off of. But from your vantage point, B, because you are an artist yourself, how big of a moment is this to see hip hop putting on this stage in front of millions of people the way it was done?
If we had literally bowed to the wisdom of C. Dolores Tucker, we would not be here in this moment. So it's like, hip hop is the voice of a people who has always been put to the back, has always been told, sit down, shut up, be seen, not heard. And this is what happens when you do not listen to that voice. Yeah. So it's a testament to every artist, every creative, any person who has had a door slammed in our face, any of us who have been censored out of control over our message. Like, this is what happens when we're able to stay the course. This is what happens when we are able to survive. So it's a testament to the bloodshed. It's a testament to lives lost. It's a testament to where gangster rap has matured into, and so this is a real thing. This is a real win. This is a real victory. And for it to be in LA, You know,
I mean, do you but
God
see,
given.
but what about some people are saying, B, that the music itself still draws on the negative aspects of our life, of Black life and Black culture. You know what I mean? Whether you're talking about the lyrics, where you're talking about just the staging, the set. So one of our watchers asked, was the set that was built a representation of the Inglewood neighborhood there? And McCole, that was McCole. Thank you so much for that question. I mean, do you feel like it was a positive representation of the growth and the endurance of hip hop?
I do. I love it. Like, this was a full collaborative event, and so it's all of the creative minds and the hands that went into bigging up and hoisting up Inglewood and hoisting up rap. Like, this is major, so of course, how are we supposed to mimic popular music and pop vibrations when we are still living with the people who have enslaved us, asking permission to own the game in which we're playing? So yes, our art at times is violent, but if our art wasn't, we would be much more, so it's like it goes to show you like what we can do when we funnel our rage into beautiful music, into beautiful art, and it should jar you to the soul.
Right, right.
Because that's what we do. That is culture. That is
Absolutely.
who we are as Black people,
Absolutely. J-Bo, I want to bring your take on this. When you saw yesterday's halftime show, when we saw what we saw, and then just the imprint that it's making on the culture, people are saying that this was the greatest halftime show ever. I beg to differ personally, J-Bo. I don't think this was the greatest. I thought this was one of the best, but I don't think it was great. I mean, I'm thinking back to when Michael Jackson performed.
Yes.
I remember that halftime show. He literally popped out the stage from the bottom of the stage, and you know what I'm saying? Like, in full athletic, his full athletic ability, he performed in a gold, it looked like a uniform, a military style uniform. And I mean, he became Michael. I mean, this was back in what, 1993? So Michael Jackson was still at the top of his game. He was still at the peak, but how do you see this moment?
Well, I thought the halftime show was great. To be honest with you, I agree with you. I don't think it was the best one ever. I was just having that discussion this morning. Like you said, Michael Jackson, Prince.
Right.
Yeah, Prince performed. I thought that I thought that Mary killed it.
Mary, oh my God.
Mary killed it. Like, I mean, I like everybody else too, but and you know what? I was laughing because of, if you're probably like 25 and under, you're probably looking at the TV crazy. Because I mean, we old. So
but you ain't got to put it out there like that, J-Bo. You ain't got to say that, man.
But I mean, I thought the set was nice, the special effects. Eminem did good. They brought 50 in. He wasn't, part of the LA thing, but those are a lot of people I put ahead of this halftime show. So, but I think they did a good job.
Right. And I mean, to speak about Eminem, I thought it was a powerful moment that he took the knee. Like, you have other Black artists. I mean, we know Marion, them high, those boots where she was killing them high. I don't even know what to call them. Be like them boots. She couldn't take. She fell out. She.
I know what I said. She fell out. Like,
she literally just fell out to the floor because she was moving and working so hard. I get it. I totally get it. But to see Eminem take the knee, and the NFL put out a statement saying yes, they were aware that he was going to take a knee. But to see a white artist taking a knee during this hip hop set, again, it goes to the testament of how powerful the culture really is, and most importantly, how close the culture is to professional sports, especially when on this platform.
Mm-hmm.
B, what's your take on that? On Eminem taking a knee?
You know, I was trying to look for this article, like right before it happened, Farajii. I feel like I saw this article that said NFL told Eminem not to take the knee. And then he took the knee. And then NFL puts out, oh, we were aware that he's taking the knee. You know, all of this is just defile under white mansplaining. You know what I'm saying? Like we still have Kaepernick who is unemployed. You know what I'm, and so so I understand and I appreciate his performance art, but you know, there are certain revolutionary acts that when it comes to white men, it is literally just performance art. And so, you know, so thank you for the performance art on top of performance art, Eminem, but I personally was not here for him.
You were not here for him. Who were you here for, B?
I mean, who was I here for? Oh,
yeah, who are you? I mean, in that moment, in that show,
I was here for Kendrick.
You was there? Oh, okay.
You was there for Kendrick? Okay.
I was here for Kendrick. I was here for Snoop. I was here for Dre. I was here for Mary. I was here for 50. Should we go on? Like, I was here for Kendrick's background, man. Like, Jesus. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here for our expression. Like, I understand where Eminem fits into the conversation. I understand his creative influence in his place. I get it, you know, but I wasn't necessarily here for him or the performance art.
No, I get it. I totally get it.
You know,
I'm
just not here for that.
Well, we can't deny Kendrick. Some folks online, and I saw one article that said, and I don't know if we have Coach still on, but I saw one article that said that Kendrick was kind of doing an ode to like Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation because of the level of, you know, from the outfits to the choreography. And I love the black. I'm going to tell you, black men in blonde hair doing dance moves with Kendrick. Busting out boxes. Like, can you imagine your Amazon man just coming through and he just bust out the box, like start dancing and all this stuff?
I'm here for that. I'm here. My heart was beating so fast. I'm like, yes. Black men need this. Understand? This is how you do that.
Yeah, I mean, Kendrick takes the art, and I think he takes the culture to a whole nother level. I've seen him, you know, when you look at his performances, everything from the Grammys to whatever space that he's in, his demonstration and representation of the art form is always on point. It's very, very telling. It's very, very intentional, and I definitely was here for that. And I feel like the songs that was chosen, J-Bo, from, you know, No More Pain to Kendrick's All Right to Lose Yourself, these were not, I mean, yes, they were hits, but this set was curated to speak to where we are now. That's why I felt. Now, I could be way off in my assessment of this, but I felt like they needed songs to uplift, to get people excited, to help people to see, like, you know what, we've gone through some things in this country, but we're still moving forward. Did you get that same feeling, J-Bo?
Yeah, pretty much, man. I think they were really just trying to send a message, you know, about, you know, where we're coming from, where we're going, you know, what's been the whole journey of everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, like you said, those songs weren't necessarily like the single on their album or something like that. So it was kind of choreographed, so all of that would fit like that.
Right.
So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of people are asking, I mean, when we look at the big scheme of things, and we got a couple of moments left, you know, when we walk away from, given the fact that this is the NFL, given the fact that there's still a lot of issues that the NFL has with Black people and Black culture, should we even be celebrating? Should we even be looking at this as a win when we're still in the same position culturally, socially within the league? Can this be a victory? B-Fly.
I consider this recess. It's okay to run outside and play at recess, but then after recess, it's time to get back to work, right?
Yeah.
So that's what this was. This was a wonderful recess. We were able to see some of our greats perform greatly together. We have to also just bring in being able to see Mary and 50 and the dynamic of power play out on stage within this hip hop set. Like the life imitating art and the lines being so blurry and the executive producers that were on this stage as well. When hip hop can become the executive producer, when the rapper now pays for the content, it's amazing. And so my heart is exploding for multiple reasons, off of that recess moment. What I'm saying?
I love the way you said that, B. And I'm wondering, even for Black life in Los Angeles, for Black culture, whether it's hip hop culture or whether it's any other culture, but for Black life in Los Angeles, how do you foresee this this demonstration impacting that? Do you feel like Black people are going to be reinvigorated, or do you feel like Black people are like, yeah, we saw that, that was cool?
I think we are. I think the pandemic has motivated a next batch of entrepreneurs, a next batch of innovative thinking. And so moments like this really just spark a flame for the next innovators to step up and go into that zone of uncomfortability in their communities and into their home. And so I am looking forward to seeing how we occupy Inglewood in the face of gentrification, and make sure that we are also present with our businesses on those streets, because that's really important. And I feel really confident in the economic structure of my hometown.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to thank both of you. B-Fly, I want to thank you so much for joining us today here on The Culture. Truly appreciate you. B-Fly, co-owner of Blackwater Production House. She's also a Black woman producer of films. Thank you so much, B-Fly. And folks can follow you at Black Sheezus. J-Bo, thank you so much for checking in for the conversation and being one of our sports analysts as well. We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah, brother, go ahead.
Is it true they don't get paid to do the Super Bowl?
No. That's what I've read. That's what I've read, brother. That NFL. No, here's the thing. I read that Mary says she does. She said it herself. No, she does not get paid because that 15 minutes or 20-minute set is going to, over the long term, in terms of dividends. What they have found, and this is absolutely true. Every artist that have performed for the Super Bowl, literally the next day, they see a huge increase in their sales of past music and present music. So, for example, Mary J. Blige just dropped her new album, Good Morning Gorgeous, out. I think it was Friday, and so people are going. She's trending right now, actually. Yep. So you don't get paid. Matter of fact, The Weeknd, when he performed last year for the Super Bowl, he put up like $7 million of his own money to create the set and all of that to do it. But guess what? His album sales at that time went up over 100%. So these artists, just to perform in front of millions of people on the world's biggest stage, you're going to eat. Trust and believe, you're going to eat. Mary is going to eat, bro. Yeah. Mary is going to eat. And I think that, we don't have time to get into it today, but it speaks of that whole arrangement goes against the very thing when somebody say pay your worth. So when you should be paid your worth, but when it comes to some opportunities, when there is long-term returns, then guess what? You should still take advantage of those opportunities, even though you may not be paid up front. On the back end, you're gonna get money all day. So, I think that's a great question, J-Bo. Thank you for bringing that up, brother. And again, thank you for being on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Folks, you know, I got a minute left. I want to just throw out this whole idea of the last word. And I think that my last word today would be intention. If there's nothing else, intention. Our intention has to be crystal clear about when we do anything, right? So, you know, just as much as we're having this conversation about Black folks leaving the support of President Biden, or just as much as we having this conversation about the NFL and what we would like to see in this institution, we have to be very clear about our intention. In Islam, intention, you state your intention when you go to prayer. Why? Because it tunes your mind up to getting ready to do what you say you're going to do. If your intention is not clear, if you don't have some sense of what it is that you want to get out of a situation, then guess what? It's not going to happen the way you want it to happen, right? Your intention has to be clear. So I think that as we're having these conversations about all of these big things that are happening, we have to be clear. Well, what is it that we want from this scenario? What is our intention? And if our intention is not clear, then guess what? We're not going to see the changes that we want to see, nor will we see the changes that we deserve. So we have to be clear. I am very clear that as a community organizer, as an activist, and all of those things that you do, that I do, that I'm going to be intentional about how I do it. Intentional. If we're not intentional, then guess what's going to happen, folks? Guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose sight. Somebody can throw you off your game, or other things can distract you. But if you are intentional, that helps to keep the goal in mind. And guess what? That's where we need to be at this point, to have a goal in mind. What is our goal with the NFL? And I think one of the big questions that came up with Colin Kaepernick is like, what is the ultimate goal? What do we want to see? And it is just because of now that conversation is about black coaches, or just because of now the conversation is about Black folks and our relationship to the president and the administration. But we needed to be clear about our intentions, and our intentions will dictate everything. So just keep that in mind, folks. That's my last word for today. I want to thank all of my wonderful guests. I want to thank our culture crew member B Fly. I want to thank J Bo, Coach Butch McAdams, LaDon Black. Thank you. Also, I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of the conversation today and being a part of just the whole Black Star Network community. We want you to continue to support us right down at the bottom. Your money, your donation, your contribution plays a whole, it just does so much for us. And we want you to support the Black Star Network. You can go to blackstarnetwork.com. There are so many ways on how you can give via Cash App, PayPal, Vimos, Zelle, whatever you want to do. Also, make sure you download the app on your phone, on your television, and of course, you follow us on all social media platforms. Follow yours truly on social media as well. And let's keep our intentions clear as we move forward in 2022. Folks, that's going to do it for me. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Peace.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.